All right, what is good? What is happening, everybody? It's your boy Primitive AK here. You guys are here for, or should I say, Pristine AK on the alt channel today. I haven't uploaded here in a minute, but today we're going to be covering the best in slot, I guess, day one builds that I'm going to be bringing into the raid. Now, these are very likely to change as we get through the raid. For those that are new to the channel, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys showing love and support. I may start uploading here more. The last time I uploaded was actually the last day one. So I know it's been quite a while, but I may start posting on this channel again. I've been having fun on the game and really been enjoying the DLC. Not a big fan of the story, but to each their own, I suppose. But you guys are here for day one builds. That's what we're here for. We got a lot to cover, and we'll get right into it. So first things first, the builds themselves will be structured around a boss encounter and a neutral game. So basically what that means is that one build is strictly for DPSing bosses, and then the other build is going to be for like puzzle encounters, not focused on like big damage supers, like for example T-Crash, just more or less neutral game dealing with big adds. So let's talk about the first build. So I am currently running a super and weapons focused build. Currently, you cannot get these two stats to drop. That'll likely change in the near future. This is going to be my neutral game loadout. So if I'm dealing with like, large groups of enemies, mini bosses, this is exactly what this build is for. The weapons are going to change throughout the encounter, so just bear that in mind. But this is a 2.0 consecration build. It's actually pretty solid. If you want, you can spec more into melee here. I know that's what some people are doing for consecration. However, I decided to just stick with this one. Weapon damage is pretty freaking important in this game. So if you're doing anything like puzzle encounters, anything like Vow to Disciple, where you got to read those two totems or those three totems, this would be where this build kind of shines. This is precisely what this is built for. So like I said, it's the same consecrate build, so nothing out of the norm. I think the only thing that I changed here was the grenade. I did change this out, and you may want to change this out for the Blade Fury. I just had T-Crash on because I was doing a public event on not Neomona, but the other fucking place, whatever it's called, Kepler. So you may want to opt for Blade Fury, but if you find your more success out of Thunder Crash, that is an option. I know some people are kind of like stands for the Bonk Titan build. Let me just tell you right now, as someone that does day ones every single year, it is fucking dog shit. Just don't make a build with it. Don't take it into a day one. It's useless. Just don't even bother. So the mods here: Fashion of Purpose, Protection, Awakening, Balance. Nothing too complicated there. You could either go with Thruster or Rally Barricade. Both are pretty solid options. I just to go for the aspects, obviously Knockout to get your health back if you catch yourself with your pants down, and Consecration. So pretty simple stuff there. Helmet, we got Radiant Light, this new mod for Siphon. You don't need this. You could probably just go with like either Solar or whatever weapon that you're running in the primary slot. You could even also go for Super Font. This is actually pretty strong, but I don't think it's needed for the specific build. Hands-on, obviously, so you can generate bonus super energy on your melee kills. And everything is spec'd primarily to weapons, and I think I have one extra intellect here. For the arms, pretty simple, heavy-handed. You need that. Momentum transfer, fastball is not really needed. I just kind of put that there just to fill a slot. And chest plate. This is going to be more focused towards, what's it called? This is going to be a Vex raid from what I understand. So as far as I know, you want to make sure that you have solar damage resist. I currently have it on, what's it called? Harmonic, which is set to arc because of my super, so I'll probably just actually change this now. I got concussive dampener, probably going to be a Hydra in there somewhere. I know it. I think one of the bosses is actually a Harpy. I'm not too sure on that. I could be wrong. For the boots, we have invigoration, absolution, and recuperation. Nothing too fancy there. Pretty simple stuff. You can opt for also something like orbs of restoration if you want. There's pretty much a lot of options here. I may actually take one of these out and go with something like one of these scavenger mods. It just depends on the encounter. I'll have to feel it out and see what works best. Inmost Light Synthoceps for your Titan Mark, exotic Titan Mark, kind of a no-brainer here. Powerful Attraction would go great if you're using thrusters. If you're not using thrusters, you could probably go with something like maybe Bomber, or you could double stack Outreach here, which is another solid option. I actually just realized this is on the wrong Dang, I don't know why that was set to class. We're going to set that back to weapons. So I actually have more weapons here, which is good. In terms of weapons, obviously the sword is going to be there for the traversal encounters. Artifact mods, we're going to talk about the artifact mods and I'll go back to the weapons. You want to make sure you have any barrier scout and pulse, unstoppable hand cannon, and overload rapid fire. There's usually never really champs in day one, so don't worry about these. But barrier here is crucially important because if this is a Vex raid, you want to be able to shoot through those shields, and this will be a massive help. You don't need this perk, but I'm using it because I have it on my build. Diviner Scout's pretty solid. Rapid precision firing is solid as well. If I'm going to use something like that new hand cannon, the exotic hand cannon, I'll probably swap this out for one with frost, which is really solid. This perk right here, Fever and Chill, is crucially important. I cannot recommend it enough. You guys need to have it on your build. This is literally free radiant at any given time in the raid, as long as you're getting kills and precision kills. You literally get free radiant. And if you get stasis weapon kills, you get damage resistance from frost armor, so that's huge. Shoulder to shoulder is pretty strong as well. Precision targets when while near 2 enemies against you, extra DR. Pretty solid as well. Elemental is okay. Not really recommended, but it's okay. It's not terrible. Stasis or strand debuff. Non-boss combatants take increased solar damage from all sources. I haven't really played with this yet. I don't know if it's good, so I'll have to kind of feel it out. Radiant Shrapnel is going to be pretty strong for the raid as well. Recommend you give this thing a go. And Frigid Glare, if you're running a stasis weapon, is going to be the go-to here. And last but not least, picking up an elemental pickup or Tango grants increased damage to all weapons of the same element. So if you're running like Sunshot, for example, and you have things like Fire Sprites going, if you pick that up, swap to something like Heathen's Vengeance or Solar Rocket, you're going to be dealing increased damage. Pretty helpful as well. And Shield Crush is also pretty solid here. You get extra damage while you're amplified or radiant. Your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. That's pretty solid. But really, I think Elemental Overdrive is going to be pretty insane. And also, Radiant Shrapnel is going to be really strong. So, Solar and Stasis builds are going to be really strong when using this. Now, talking about the weapons, this is what I'm going to take on this character. I am playing Titan first. Supremacy for the rewind wounds if I need to fucking have unlimited ammo. If I run out of heavy, that's what that's going to come in handy for. In terms of other weapons, we got Tanisha's Mastery. Can't go wrong with this. Lost Signal's still fucking god tier. This is technically the highest damage sniper in the game, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. I think this is cope, so we'll see. New Land Beyond, I don't know if this is going to be crazy yet. I know there's a catalyst, which I haven't unlocked for it yet. I should probably go do that, but we'll just kind of see how that plays out. This gun is absolutely insane. Mint Retrograde. The roll I have is not perfect. You want to make sure you have rewind rounds in this slot, only because you never have to reload the gun as long as you land your shots. But unfortunately, I don't have that yet. But regardless, if you don't have it, this is still a very strong weapon. Highly, highly recommend you get it. And it's fairly easy to get special ammo in this game now. Sunshot, obviously, like I said, for those artifact mods, you want to make sure that you're using this thing. Sunshot's going to be absolutely insane. Graviton Spike's going to be absolutely insane as well. Nullify, do not sleep on Nullify. This is a pulse rifle from, what the hell is that raid that nobody likes called? Salvation's Edge. This thing is going to be absolutely insane for builds. Nullify, so if you have Nullify, try to get a good roll with it. Incandescence, another good solid weapon as well. Or a perk, should I say. So definitely recommend you guys give that a go. In terms of heavy weapons, I got a multitude of options here. Anarchy seems to be the gift that keeps on giving, so we're going to give that a shot. Leviathan's Breath, I have this on here in case one of my teammates is using the Guidance Ring bow. I forgot what it's called. It's in the energy slot. You guys know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. But this is apparently going to buff all bows, even exotic ones. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But this could be absolutely crazy for bosses, so that's why I have it here. Thunderlord. Everybody shits on Thunderlord, but look, it is one of the most consistent day one weapons for damage I have ever seen. We used it on almost every single raid, so I definitely recommend you have this on and handy, ready to go. Queenbreaker is still absolutely nuts, so have it on. Scintillation, one of the best linear fusions in the game. Heathen Vengeance, still one of the best launchers in the game. Corrective Measure, this is going to be for ad clear if I need to do void damage. Commemoration, also very strong as well. And obviously, I can always swap to whatever I need here. And Slammer is primarily for traversal areas. So that's the first build. For the second build, I'm gonna throw this bad boy on real quick. This is going to be my primary big damage build. If I'm for fighting a boss, I spent a lot of time putting this one together. I might end up using this one more because this is still a bolt charge build. Now, in terms of artifact mods, aspects, we got knockout, storm's keep, kind of obvious here. Spark of beacons, spark of feedback, resistance, and frequency. Very strong, and obviously you need your T-crash here. We got Curious of Fallen Star. Huge damage numbers here with this thing. Your damage resistance, you want to focus towards Arc and, not Arc, Solar and Void. I actually have this set to Arc because I was messing around with some other classes. But you want to have this set to Solar and Void because I don't think there are any sources in the game that deal Arc from Vex. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a Vex-focused raid, but if this changes, just make sure you change your mods accordingly to whatever the enemy that you're fighting against. Heavy-handed, I may change this to firepower. I'm not sure yet. I'll just have to feel it out. But heavy-handed's pretty strong here for this class. We got firepower and fastball. Everything is focused towards weapons. I would definitely focus everything to weapons. We don't really know too much about what super does. I haven't had the opportunity to test it, and I'm not going to test it. I'm sure one of your favorite content creators will likely test that. But for now, I'm focusing everything on weapons. So that's the gauntlets there. Helmet. We're going to be focusing everything towards weapons again. Hands-on, very strong here. Harmonic is going to be pretty solid. Definitely recommend you rocking this with an arc weapon. So like if you have something like this exotic weapon, that may be a really solid choice to rock here. Heavy ammo finder. I'm debating if I want to leave this on or take it off. I know it's incredibly strong and it's kind of brain dead to take it off, but things like super font is actually really strong. So I may swap out for this. I'm just not sure yet. Really just depends on what we get in this raid. Boots is going to be recuperation, orbs, and absolution. Kind of a no-brainer there. I may swap one of these out for a scav mod. Just depends on what I'm using. Not too sure yet. I may actually just take this off and then put a scav mod here, depending on what weapon. I'll probably change it during the raid and figure out what's going on. Powerful attraction. I might actually take this off just because I'm using barricades. I may put something like time dilation or outreach is another solid option. I just don't think powerful attraction is really worth using if you're not using thrusters. So to each their own there. So this is primarily my big damage build. Like I said, pretty straightforward. If you're playing Titan and you're not using Falling Star on any boss encounter, you're definitely throwing on your team. Just want to point that out. And I also want to mention, I do have swap classes or swap pieces for Surge mods. Surge mods are going to be absolutely crucial for day ones. If you're not swapping, then I don't know what you're doing. Hopefully there's no mods that, like not swap, that prevent this from working. We'll see. But that's pretty much it for the Titan. We're going to swap over to my Hunter, which is going to be my next secondary class if things require a Hunter for any reason. So this is going to be my neutral game Hunter build with the Gifted Conviction. Again, Solar and Void, since this is likely going to be a Vex raid. Gifted Conviction's basically going to give you that extra DR when using Ascension or Tempest Strike, and it also jolts your targets. Jolting nearby targets gives you DR as well. Huge help here. Gets you out of a lot of situations. In terms of the build, we got Gambler's Dodge, Triple Jump. Thread Spike is crucial to make this build work, and Grapple. I may swap this out for like Dustfield, not too sure yet. Gunpowder Gamble, this thing's growing on me. Previously I would use Silas Executioner, but I think Gunpowder is going to be the go-to here. Ascension, obviously, you need that to make the exotic work. We got Courage, Protection, Awakening, Dawn, Purpose, and that's about it. In terms of your helmet, I've got that Siphon mod that I told you guys about, Super Font, and also Radiant Light. Pretty solid build here. We got Harmonic Loader. The reason why I have this on is because of the Rocket Pulse that I told you guys about. It's not on this character, but that's why I have this here. Momentum Transfer, causing damage with a grenade, increases your melee cooldown. I may swap this out so that way I could use Dustfield grenades with it. I'm not too sure yet. Like I said, it's just going to depend on whatever encounter we get. Boots are going to be Orbs of Restoration. Weapons font. This thing is huge. Like I said, definitely recommend you give it a shot. and recuperation. I know this got nerfed, but this is still going to be really strong for day ones. Survivability is always going to be your top priority. So when I build for day one raids, my priority is damage to bosses and survivability. Those are the two things you need to focus on for day ones. Outreach, Reaper, powerful attraction for Gambler's Dodge, and that's about it here. So obviously I do have Artifice Armor to kind of make this work a little bit. I am trying to get this to 150. That's part of the reason why I have Weapons Font on, to make that work. But that's my neutral game build. Pretty simple stuff. Like I said, I may end up swapping this out for something like Tether. I'm not too sure yet. But for now, I got Silk Strike on. For the big damage build, depending on what we run into, I may run this with the Sniper. Unfortunately, Icebreaker is disabled at the time of making this video. I was kind of looking forward to using this thing. But we'll be using the other Sniper. I forgot what it's called. The one that gives you a golden gun shot. So I'll likely be using that. Still Hunt, that's what it's called, right. Still Hunt with the Celestial Nighthawk. The Celestial build is pretty straightforward. Courage, Protection, Awakening, and Dawn. Ascension again, and this time we're going to be using Stylus Executioner. I might put Gambler on. Or Gunpowder Gamble, yeah. I might actually put that on. Combination Blow here. I may swap this out for Knife Trick. I'll have to play around with it more before day one, just kind of see what works. Nighthawk, obviously, it's going to turn it into a one-hit monster. We got Radiant Light. You need to have Radiant Light. This is going to make your other teammates armor charge, so that way when they have their surges on, this will give them those extra bonuses there as well. And it will also give you a armor charge. So pretty important when you have this on something like a one and done super, like the Golden Gun. Harmonic Siphon and Heavy Ammo Finder. Pretty no-brainer here. For your gauntlets, we got Harmonic Loader for solar, impact induction. You want to make sure you're using Sunshot with this. That's why I have this on. Or any solar weapon that works. Firepower is going to be for the grenade. Chestplate, like I said, solar and void. As far as I know, there's no other DRs that you need to worry about in terms of X. I know there is art from the pools, but it's really not much of a concern. If you're dying to that in a day one, you probably shouldn't be doing one. Weapons Font, again, I have this on, so that way I can get that extra bonus. I think it's a plus 30 when you get this, when you have max armor charge. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Orbs of Restoration, Recuperation, and focused on Super and Weapons Forge. You definitely want to spec into Super for this one, because it does actually boost your damage. We got Powerful Attraction, Reaper, Outreach. Pretty simple. You get an extra orb when you dodge and kill an enemy. And Outreach reduces melee cooldown when using class abilities. So pretty solid there. So that's pretty much it for the Hunter. Like I said, things may change as we progress through the raid. I'm just not sure what to expect in terms of this raid. I just know that it's going to be a Vex raid. It's kind of been leaked already. Everybody knows it. So definitely make sure you're building into that. Like I said, these builds are built for survivability and boss damage. Those are the only two things that you should be focusing on. Ad clear will come naturally. You're probably going to have some Warlocks on your team that'll be able to help you out with that. And we're going to get into that next. But the one build everybody wants to see is the Warlock builds. Yep. So I am not going to be a Warlock for this raid. I believe we're going to have three or four Warlocks, but I have my Warlock on standby if for some reason we need to all switch to Warlocks. I don't think that'll happen, but I have it here on standby. Chances are my day one team players are probably going to have better Warlock builds than me. So we're going to get right into this one first. I'm going to start off by saying my Warlock numbers here are all types of fucked up. All right, they're all types of fucked up. You want to spec into grenade and weapons. Grenade and weapons. When I first built this character, I did it the same thing everybody else did, and I spec'd into super and weapons. That was a mistake. Apparently, everyone theorized that super was going to give you a 45% damage bonus with your well. That doesn't appear to be the case. I don't know if it's bugged, or I don't know if that's just how it's built. We don't really know. Everybody just kind of assumed that's how it was going to work, so we don't really know right now. So when you do build this, I'm going to try to do some encore to get some pieces right now to spec this into grenade and weapons, but you definitely want to spec into this. I don't have it on this character, but you want to make sure you have Witherhoard on. That's going to be huge for using Starfire. So I'm going to start with Starfire here. With Starfire, obviously, same DRs. This is going to give you your grenade back when defeating enemies with empowered weapon damage. You do get it back very quickly. Even with me having low numbers for the grenade stat, I'm still getting my grenade incredibly quick. I'm getting it incredibly quick. So Starfire players, you guys are going to be in for a real treat. I'm really happy that this is not disabled at the time of writing this or making this video. I don't see a reason why they would disable it. Now, the last time I played Starfire was actually during Root of Nightmares. I was a Starfire player, and I was able to solo clear the planets room in Root of Nightmares. That middle room where all the ads were spawning in planets, I soloed that entire thing on day one. That's how strong Starfire is. So you want to make sure you have a Starfire player on your team, at least 2. If you're really good at the game, you could probably just solo it yourself, but I can't stress it enough. Starfire is going to be absolutely insane. And if you can max this stat out to like 150, 160, you're going to be in for a real treat on your build. So try to get that, and then maybe something like weapons as well. So that's what Starfire does here. You want to make sure you have that on. Firepower, you want to double stack these with Fastball. Fastball is really, really good for the fusion grenades. Helmet, we got Harmonic Siphon. Probably want to run this with a Sunshot again. Radiant Light, so that way when you pop your well, you'll be able to get that extra armor charge for your teammates. Heavy Ammo Finder, kind of a no-brainer here. You could probably even get away without Ammo Finder mods, just because the new ammo system is actually really generous, in my opinion. Gauntlets, Firepower, like I said, nothing too crazy there. And your boots, Innervation, Arc Scavenger, or Solar, depending on whatever you're using. I'm probably going to lean more towards Solar, just because I'll likely be using something like a Launcher or Queen Breaker. We'll just see. Everything spec to Grenade mod. Like I said, I'm going to try to get this grenade number up a little higher before the raid starts. Bond of Contestants. Bond of Contest. Holy shit. Reaper, Bomber, and Bomber. Really the only 3 that you need here. In terms of the class, obviously, Empowering Rift, you need to make sure you have this on. Don't make a fucking brain dead mood and have something on like Healing Rift or Phoenix Drive. That's going to kill your build and it's not going to work. Burst Glide, Celestial Fire. I might swap this out for like Incendiary Snap. I'm not sure yet. Fusion Grenade, obviously a must. I got Helion and Touch of Flame. You could try something like Icarus Dash. I don't think it's needed. Like I said, I don't think it's needed. I personally would just stick with Helion. It's going to be pretty useful here. Mercy, Solace, Resolve, and Searing. That's why I decided to rock for this thing. You could probably change this to something else, but this is just what I'm using here. Solar Grenade, Final Blows. This thing is huge. You need, if anything, if you don't have anything else here, try to have Resolve on. That's the most important here. Now, I don't really have a neutral game build. I mean, if you're playing Warlock, this is really the only build that you need. If you want to run a neutral game build, I would probably run something like, maybe like a Speaker Sight build, like a healing build with like one of those healer weapons. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to make one right now, only because I'm not going to be the primary Warlock on my team. But if I do need to switch to Warlock for whatever reason, this is the primary build that I'm using, and this is probably going to be one of the best builds in the game. But in terms of my personal favorites here, a lot of people want to know what are the 2 best classes right now. I would say Arc Titan on Stormkeep and Starfire Warlock builds with grenades are the 2 best builds in the game right now. You do not want to use anything else. But if you're stuck playing on something like Hunter, if you're forced into Hunter like me, I'm probably going to be forced into Hunter at some point. You want to make sure you're prepared. So hopefully this builds help you guys out. Like I said, I'm going to repeat it again because I say it a lot. All of these builds are geared for survivability and boss damage. Those are your focuses for day 1 raids. And primarily survivability. You knock those 2 things out and you're going to be in a good spot. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for all the love and support. I know this was a long one. Thanks for sticking through it. And good luck to anyone participating in the raid. I will be live streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/primitiveak on Twitch. And stay tuned for that. I will see you guys tomorrow, first thing in the morning. Peace out, fellas.